Beware. Hello, my Quibi viewers, and welcome back to Viewer Beware. It's the only show where we go over each and every episode of the original Goosebumps TV series. Today we're starting Season 3 with a shocker on Shock Street.
Gross!
Hey, I didn't name the episode, and I'm sure it means shocking horror, not, Anyway, this book always confused me because the cover art is like a giant mantis on a street, and the title Shocker on Shock Street, I always just thought, is this about like a giant electric mantis that's taking over a town? How would that even work?
Probably shockingly well.
We're out of that one?
A little.
Okay, well, in the story, Shock Street isn't an actual place. It's sort of like a fictitious Movieville location, sort of like how all of the Trauma movies take place in Traumaville. And if you don't know what Trauma is, then check out Toxic Avenger. It's beautifully cheesy in all the right ways. But back to our story, Shocker on Shock Street. It's about two kids that take a tour of their favorite horror movie studio when things suddenly go off the rails. Sure, we've seen it before, but have we seen it with kids being set on fire and electrocuted? I would hope not. Anyway, let's get ready to experience the shocker. We open with a scene of very familiar characters.
Hey, I know that guy. He owes me $20.
We even see the creep head from Calling All Creeps. Anyway, our heroes Aaron and Marty enter the prop closet and are amazed by all the spooky stuff.
I'm not scared. You're the one who's afraid of your own shadow.
Eventually, the kids see a number of posters from the Shock Street Films, which is a production company that makes horror movies. Aaron notices a new monster she's never seen before, and the kids start to notice how it feels like they're being watched.
It feels like they're watching me.
Don't worry, they're fake.
But they continue searching anyway. Marty starts messing with some werewolf parts when suddenly the arm snaps to life and grabs Aaron. After freaking out for a bit, it's revealed that Aaron's dad was playing a prank on them with some animatronics.
Dad!
I got you good.
Very funny, Dad.
He makes the robotic monsters in the Shock Street Films, which is what makes them so frightening. While Aaron's dad is showing off the monster masks to Marty, Aaron notices some strange lights in the adjacent room, and her dad flips out on her.
It's off limits. Off limits.
Okay.
After apologizing for the outburst, he lets kids know that the studio is opening a tram ride on the studio lot that will show off all the Shocker Studios properties and even take them down the iconic titular Shock Street. Absolutely stoked by this, Aaron asks her dad if her mom can come, which gets an odd response.
Can Mom come with us?
Excuse me? What did you say?
Can Mom come? She loves scary rides.
No. You two will be the only ones on the ride.
We can just assume it was a nasty divorce, but still, very strange. Before we know it, the kids are at the loading bay for the tram ride.
You're in for a scare.
Cool.
Aaron's dad is very strict about the kids not leaving the cart for any reason, but gives them some peace of mind.
Use these laser guns.
Why do we need guns?
Not sure what they would need to pack heat for, but as soon as the ride starts, you kinda get an idea. After setting the children on fire, it seems like pretty standard fare for a haunted house ride, if you've ever been on one. Just random guys jump out and swing stuff at you. After a moment, the tram completely stops and Marty decides to jump out and push it forward. Instead of sitting around and waiting, the two decide to walk the rest of the track, but remember to bring their guns first. These monsters are about to turn into Swiss cheese, which immediately happens once a creeper jumps out at the kids.
Shoot it!
After getting active with the switch, the kids eventually find an emergency exit and it dumps them out right onto Shock Street. Marty is immediately geeking out about the iconic movies he's seen on this set, despite Aaron being very worried about the danger. Eventually the kids start trying to check random buildings until they walk into an arcade that is most definitely not an arcade. In this area there is a high voltage fence around what looks like hazardous materials, but Marty just assumes it's set dressing for the tour, despite this clearly not being a part of the tour. Anyway, after a little argument, Marty gets snatched by the monster from earlier and is shocked through the high voltage fence. Marty seems to be out cold, but eventually gets back up and lets Aaron know that he for sure felt that electricity.
I can feel those volts ripping through my body.
Let's get out of here.
While continuing on, the kids decide that the monsters must be real since the electricity was real. Aaron's dad must have created real monsters and trapped them in the areas of the studio. But before they can really delve into the possibilities of that, they're jumped by a piranha man.
Get back and you won't get hurt. Okay, you asked for it. Let him have it, Marty. They don't work!
After realizing the guns are out of laser juice, the kids run away until they get to another elevator, but Marty gets bitten by Piranha Face. Wrestling away from the creature, they reveal the Piranha Man was robotic as its head simply popped right off. More importantly though, we see Aaron's dad and his team have been monitoring the kids this whole time. Back out at Shock Street, the kids see Aaron's dad with a controller of some kind. Confused and angry, Marty decides to attack Aaron's dad, but is quickly neutralized. Aaron now sees that her dad is up to something, so just as confused as Marty, she starts to yell at him as well. Aaron's dad then flips a switch on Aaron's back. How did that get there? He then asks his assistants to come collect the kids.
Let's get him back to the workshop, take him apart, maybe find out what went wrong.
So the kids are robots that the doctor created to test the ride to see if it was safe. And you just gotta feel like there's an easier way to do that. Anyway, the doctor is planning to build the next versions of the kids, but before he decommissions the first versions, they snap back to life.
I'd say you made us plenty durable.
Durable enough for revenge, anyway.
And you thought you could just discard us.
But I deactivated you.
So you thought.
I guess there are some things you don't know about us, aren't there?
We don't want to be deactivated. Do we, Marty?
No. We don't like that. We don't like that at all.
Everything wants to live.
Even robots.
So the kids were robots all along, which seems a little bit like overkill, because they're just testing the safety of a tram ride. I feel like they could have just used crash test dummies. I mean, this guy thought the best course of action was to create two kids, one of which being his daughter, and give them memories and human emotion and the ability of free will to just move about the park on their own with no given instructions. This man created life so that he could test drive the It's a Small World ride. It's insane. And I'm going to admit, it's been a while since I've seen this episode, and I always thought that the reason they were robots is because the directors wanted cheaper, safer alternatives to hiring real people to act in their movies. And I thought that was the whole reason. And it wasn't. And you think, hey, maybe it's different in the stories, right? Yeah, because in the book, that's the exact reason they are robots. They filmed the entire night. That was why they did it. And I mean, granted, the events of the book are much more action-packed. I mean, they have an out-of-control roller coaster and living skeletons and werewolves and hundreds of zombies and just stuff they really couldn't do on the TV show. So what they ended up doing was just clearing out the prop closet and then, calling it a day. And they probably had to rewrite that ending because, if they were filming that for a movie, it wouldn't be a very interesting movie. That movie would actually kind of suck. But to kind of make up for that, they did give us a little bit more exposition at the end. In the book, the kids are just kind of deactivated and thrown out, and then the doctor moves on. But in this one, he is creating the next kids, and then the kids come alive, and they're like, "Hey, we can live, so we want to live, so Blade Runner, we're gonna Blade Runner you." Which I feel the revenge angle kind of does salvage something at the end there, but a little too little too late, And to be honest, this was a weak episode, and it sucks because we did have a string of bangers for a while there, and then this one's just a wet fart. So for that, I'm going to have to give it a 2 out of 5 on the bump meter. I mean, there are worse out there, but this is, not very good. It feels piecemeal. Like they just had to figure something out to do with the story, They had extra masks laying over, so pair them up, do it together. So 2 out of 5, check it out, especially if your dad is a mad scientist that runs a theme park / movie studio. Check your lower back for controls, because that's usually where they like to hide them, and it's usually just like a big red button. It's not like hidden under the skin or anything. It's just going to be a big antenna and button super glued to your back. So, watch out for that, and I'll see you guys next time on Viewer Beware.